In this video, I'm gonna show you how to make this DIY hot tub cover for about 200 bucks. This is me opening it. I'm gonna do it with one hand just to really show you how easy it is. You just start rolling. And as it rolls, it kind of just rolls on itself. So it's really not too heavy at all. I did that with little effort. It is heavy enough though, so that kids can't do it, which I love. I also just finished building this stand that you can see that holds the cover. This hot tub cover is over 300 pounds. All right, so you'll have to envision this, but I have this anti-fatigue rubber mat. It's 4 foot by 8 foot. I'm gonna put this next to another one. Imagine 8 foot by 8 foot, and then imagine a bunch of cedar pieces of wood lined up like this, separated, screwed to it. You then roll to open up the hot tub cover, and then unroll to close it. That rubber is going to be directly on top, insulating the heat into the hot tub. I saw this in another video. It seemed like a really great idea. I'm going to replicate it and see what happens. I'm going to do a couple of things different though, and I'll walk you through those differences as I go through it. One of the largest concerns I have is as you unroll this thing, it's going to get larger and larger and larger as the material stacks up. So once it gets to about right here, I can't just have my guests, push it an extra inch and then it just falls right on the ground. It's going to be heavy, it could hurt somebody. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to make this extend a little bit longer. I'm going to build a platform that has a backing on it so that when it balls up, all somebody has to do is push it and it'll roll forward. The weight will be supported on the edges here. That's at least the design, so we'll see how it actually unfolds, so to speak. Here is the lumber I'm going to be using. This is 2x3s. It's untreated cedar. I am going to do a coat on this so that it can be coated so that when it gets wet from the rain, because it's going to be on the outside of this cover, it's not going to get all messed up throughout the years. So I'm going to do my best here. I have a couple extras. Notice one of them is warped. I'm probably not going to use that one. That slipped past by me in the store. This is the product that I'm using today. This is going to stain and seal. I'm using a full stain, so you're not going to see much of the wood grain. It's going to mainly be like a paint. All right, I got that coat on. This is gonna be the boards that are gonna be face down on the rubber mat, so I'm not 100% worried about coverage and doing like 2 layers and stuff. I'm just gonna do one good solid coat. It's gonna go face down. I wanna make sure I have all 4 sides of the boards covered with this stain and seal. In case you're wondering, this is the rubber that I got. This is from Lowe's. It's Project Source. And this is a 4 foot by 8 foot anti-fatigue standing mat. So you can see in the photo, this is like one of those anti-pressure mats that people will place in areas where they stand for a long time to reduce the stress on their joints. This is 4 foot by 8 foot. When I lay it out, it looks like that. I'm going to put 2 of them next to each other so that I have an 8 foot by 8 foot square of rubber. All right, I have my 2 4 foot by 8 foot mats laid out right next to each other now. So I have an 8 foot by 8 foot square. The next step is I'm kind of letting it sit out in the sun so that some of these ripples can kind of flatten out naturally. But I'm not gonna wait too much longer. I have Gorilla tape. Make sure you get Gorilla, don't get duct tape. This stuff is 10 times better. It costs more for a reason. You want this to last, spend the extra couple bucks to get Gorilla Tape. So what you're gonna do, I got the wide 4-inch or 3-inch tape, is I'm just gonna do a couple of seams of tape here on one side and then flip it and do it on the other side as well. I chose to do 3 layers of tape right here. I did 1 down the middle and then 1 on each side to hold that strip down. I'm now gonna flip this over and do the same thing on the back side. All right, I counted up and this is the total amount of boards that I'm gonna need. These 3 are extra. I flipped them over and now I'm going to stain and seal the backside. Then I'm gonna do all the other corners and sides and stuff. I wanna make sure I get all sides of this stained and sealed before I lift it and put it on my mat. Just an update, I got 3 sides of all the boards painted so far. Gonna let that dry for a bit and then flip it 180 degrees and do that last final short side. Okay, all sides are now painted with the sealer, the stain sealer. I'm now out of sunlight though, so I'm gonna stop for the day. Okay, I'm finally at this stage. This is the second time I've had to do it. I totally have PTSD from my giant mess up. So let's just ignore that. Ignore the caulking on the side of this wood here. I got some brand new matting, just taped it together. I'm setting each board now, every 6 inches roughly, and I'm going to flop this back over. I'm gonna put the nice finish side facing down, and I'm going to be screwing straight in. I am measuring now. Every 6 inches, I'm putting a board on center. I just finished mounting my first board. An important thing to note, notice my seam is this direction. You do not want your boards to go the same direction as the seam. Otherwise, as it rolls, it's gonna roll along the seam, which is the weakest point of the entire configuration. So you want it to be perpendicular to the seam. So as it rolls, it's rolling against the seam versus rolling on the seam. This is gonna dramatically extend the life of this solution. I just finished pinning it down on all 4 sides. I did wooden slats every 6 inches on center on the sides, and then you can see about every foot has a connection point. What I'm now going to do is put a couple of vertical rows of screws on here on each side. I placed my stainless steel washers roughly where I'm going to be putting these lines. You want to have good coverage. Just finished screwing all of those in. I'm now going to flip this over and demonstrate what this will look like. Okay, so here is what is going to be visible on top of the hot tub. This is a weighted cover insulated with the rubber. This is closed-celled rubber, so it's not going to swell up from water. What I'm going to do is demonstrate. Imagine this sitting on top of the hot tub. I'm going to demonstrate how this is going to roll. So that's what it looks like rolled up. It's about 1 foot tall, 1.5 feet wide. It's pretty easy to roll it up because you're not lifting it, you're just kind of lifting small sections at a time as you roll it. Let's see how challenging it is to unroll it. I imagine this is going to be even easier. Yeah, I can unroll with just 1 foot. Okay, that is the demonstration. Hard part is going to be to lift this and get it on my hot tub, which is outside. All right, I'm just dragging this to the hot tub. It's not that far, but it's like dragging a body. I don't know what that feels like. I'm just imagining. All right, here's the finished product. I am going to build a little shelf right here that holds it so this can fully roll off of the hot tub and sit in this shelf. I'll make that a different video. This is it though. It retained the heat really well last night. Super easy to unroll. See how easy that is? Just did that one-handed. I'm gonna pull it tighter so there's not these ripples. It has a nice tight seal so it retains the heat really well. I opened it up this morning and steam billowed out. What I have noticed is I'm seeing a little bit of a dip in between each of my screw rows, which I'm gonna be concerned with if it starts snowing and it stacks up or rains. So what I'm gonna do is actually take this off and do a second row in each of these gaps. I recommend you just do that to start with. This really turned out great for a low cost, good looking DIY hot tub cover.